All right, buckle up because we're diving deep into Lollms.
Oh boy.
And trust me, this is not just your average AI tool.
Okay.
The creator doesn't just give us, like, dry facts.
Right.
They've practically built a starship on a line of code.
Okay.
We're talking warp drives, Klingons, even the Borg Queen makes an appearance.
Really? It's a surprisingly effective approach, I have to say.
I know, right?
Yeah, that Star Trek analogy really drives home the point of Lollms' versatility.
I mean, come on, how can you not be intrigued
Uh-huh.
by the Borg Queen helping you debug code?
Right.
But before we get
We know about too
lost in the Delta Quadrant,
Okay.
let's back up a bit.
Right.
What exactly is Lollms?
Yeah.
One of the sources called it the Lord of Large Language Models, which, honestly, sounds a bit intimidating.
Well, large language models are essentially the AI engines driving a lot of what we experience online. Things like those eerily accurate predictive text suggestions.
Right.
But imagine that on a grand scale, a whole network of AI working together,
Okay.
and you start to get a sense of what Lollms is going for.
Okay, so we're not just talking about a chatbot that can write you a poem.
Definitely not. Lollms is designed to be a central hub for interacting with a whole array of AI models.
Okay.
And it's not limited to just text. We're talking code, images, you name it.
Oh, wow.
The Swiss Army knife analogy really does fit here.
Okay, now W we're talking. It's like having a whole team of AI specialists at your fingertips ready to tackle anything you throw at them. And speaking of fingertips, one of these sources actually walks us through the Lollms interface.
Okay.
How user-friendly is this thing?
Well, the creator clearly put some thought into making it approachable.
Okay.
He describes the interface as the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, so get ready for some buttons.
I am always up for a good button.
Oh.
What kind of gadgets are we talking about here?
Well, he points out the M button, which glows green when the model is ready for a command.
Right.
The flag to show if it's currently running a task.
Huh?
There are familiar things like refresh.
Right.
And even a light-dark mode toggle, which is a nice touch.
So it seems like they've really thought about how people actually want to use this technology.
Yes.
Not just admire it from afar.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the examples he uses to demo these features are where things get really interesting.
Okay.
He starts with something simple, asking Lollms for the current date.
And it doesn't pull a HAL 9000 and declare it's January 1st, 2001.
Thankfully, no. It accurately provides the date May 8th, 2024, proving it's tapped into real-time data.
Okay.
But then he takes things a step further and asks it to draw a circle using SVG code.
Hold on. SVG code. Just for our listeners who might not be fluent in computer language.
Sure.
What exactly does that mean?
It's a language for describing vector graphics, basically, images that can be scaled up or down without losing quality.
Yeah.
Like logos or icons you see online.
Gotcha. So we're not just talking about text-based responses.
Right.
Lollms is actually generating visuals on command.
Yes.
That's impressive.
It is.
Okay.
And the example he gives is hilarious.
Okay.
He has Lollms draw Mickey Mouse.
Let me guess. It perfectly replicates the Disney magic end of story.
Not exactly.
Oh.
It does draw Mickey.
Okay.
But he describes the result as looking like he's been assimilated by the Borg Queen,
Uh-huh.
which you have to admit is a pretty vivid description.
Okay. First of all, hilarious.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just a one-and-done situation.
Right.
This example shows Lollms can handle revisions and build upon previous requests.
Yeah.
Almost like it's collaborating with the user.
Precisely. It highlights how this tool can be used for iterative creation,
Okay.
which is a huge deal when it comes to things like design or writing.
Right.
He then pushes the boundaries further by challenging Lollms with plotting mathematical functions.
Oh, we're getting serious now. Time for Lollms to prove its worth beyond drawing cartoon mice.
Haha.
How to handle that?
Well, it successfully plotted the function 2x without breaking a sweat.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Of course. Things get interesting when he tries to plot cosx, a trigonometric function, and this is where we start to see some of the limitations of even advanced AI.
So Lollms hit a snag with trigonometry.
Yeah!
That's actually kind of reassuring to know. It's not some all-powerful AI deity.
Yeah, right.
But it does raise the question,
Yeah.
how does Lollms deal with these kinds of challenges?
Sure.
Does it just throw up its hands and say, I can't do it, Captain?
That's what's so fascinating about this.
Okay.
Instead of a failure, the creator turns it into a learning opportunity. He walks us through how he used Lollms itself to debug the code.
Wow.
testing different approaches.
Okay.
Almost like having a conversation with the AI to figure out what went wrong.
Okay, so it's not just about getting the right answer,
Right.
but also about understanding the process.
Yeah.
The why behind it.
Exactly.
It's like showing your work in math class.
Exactly. And this really speaks to the underlying philosophy behind Lollms.
Okay.
It's designed to be a tool for exploration, for pushing those boundaries, and for understanding the intricacies of how AI works.
Right.
The creator even mentions that these errors, these hiccups, actually help Lollms learn and adapt.
Interesting.
It's constantly evolving.
I've got to say, this whole digital odyssey is sounding less like a joyride and more like a fascinating expedition into the heart of AI.
Okay.
But let's talk about something that sounds a bit more playful.
Okay.
We've mentioned these Star Trek inspired personas a few times.
Yeah.
Is this just a fun gimmick?
Uh-huh.
Or is there like real value in interacting with AI through these different personalities?
It's definitely more than just a gimmick.
Okay.
These personas add a whole new dimension to how you work with Lollms, influencing its communication style and approach to problem solving.
Right.
We've talked about the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
But there are others that are just as intriguing, even if they don't quite have that same level of resistance as futile energy.
Oh, you've got to give me the rundown.
Uh-huh.
Who else is in Lollms' crew of AI companions?
Well, for starters, there's Sherlock Holmes. Imagine having the world's greatest detective on hand to help you analyze data or even just brainstorm ideas.
Okay, now that is something I could get behind.
Right.
Forget study groups. I need Sherlock Holmes as my research partner.
And if you need to, say, translate something into Klingon, well, there's a persona for that too.
Or maybe pen a strongly worded letter to Starfleet Command. I'm seeing the potential here.
The point is, each persona embodies a distinct set of traits and a different approach to communication and problem solving.
It's like assembling your own personal away team of AI experts, each bringing their own unique skills to the table.
Right.
So how do you actually go about choosing which persona to use for a given task?
Sure.
Is it as simple as picking a character in a video game?
That's a great analogy. And it's surprisingly intuitive.
Okay.
The creator shows how you can seamlessly switch between personas depending on what you're working on.
Okay.
Need a creative spark.
Yeah.
Maybe the Borg Queen, surprisingly, or a dedicated poet persona could help.
Wow.
Facing a logical puzzle. Sherlock's your guy.
So it's all about finding the right AI for the job.
Yeah.
But once you've made your pick, how do you actually interact with them?
Right.
Is it purely text-based?
Yeah.
Or is there a voice component?
Right.
Could I have a back and forth with a very British-sounding Sherlock Holmes?
Based on the material we have, it seems the current iteration is primarily text-based.
Okay.
However, the creator does mention exploring voice integration as a future development.
Okay, now that would be next level. I can only imagine the fun people will have with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But even without voice, the attention to detail with these personas is pretty impressive.
Right.
For instance, the creator mentions that the Borg Queen will actually address other Lollms personas as part of her collective.
Wow.
Which is both cool and slightly unnerving.
I'm really enjoying the way this creator has blended pop culture references with cutting-edge AI.
Yeah, me too.
It makes the whole thing less intimidating and much more approachable.
It does.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I think that playfulness is really key.
Okay.
It encourages people to experiment, to see AI not as something to be feared, but as a tool to collaborate with.
Okay.
To have fun with.
Yeah.
And to learn from.
It's like that scene in Star Trek where Data is learning to play the violin.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection.
Right.
It's about the joy of exploration and discovery.
Exactly.
And speaking of exploration, this brings up another key aspect of Lollms that we haven't touched on yet.
Okay.
It's open source nature.
Right.
This isn't some proprietary black box, right?
Right.
People can actually see how it works.
Yes.
Contribute to it. Even create their own custom personas.
Exactly. The creator emphasizes that Lollms is built for the community, by the community.
Okay.
They encourage users to contribute, share their creations, and help shape the future of the platform.
It's like this whole vibrant ecosystem of AI enthusiasts all tinkering under the hood.
Right.
Swapping ideas, building new features.
Yeah. It's exciting. It really is. Yeah. And it challenges us to think differently about AI development.
Okay.
What if, instead of being controlled by a select few,
Right.
it became something more democratic, more accessible?
Yeah.
That's a future with a lot of potential.
Okay.
Both good and, to be honest,
Right.
potentially challenging.
You're right. It's not all smooth sailing in the Lollms galaxy.
Yeah.
This open source approach, while exciting,
Uh-huh.
does raise some questions.
Okay.
I mean, if everyone can create their own AI personas,
Yeah.
what's stopping someone from creating something,
Right.
well, less than ethical?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
What?
And it's something the AI community is grappling with right now.
Okay.
How do you encourage innovation and open access while also safeguarding against misuse?
Yeah.
There are no easy answers.
It's a tightrope walk, for sure.
Yeah.
But for now,
Yeah.
let's focus on the positive.
Okay.
This idea of customization,
Uh-huh.
of making Lollms your own,
Yeah.
it's incredibly powerful.
It is.
It's like they've given you the tools to build your own starship,
Right.
not just big passage on someone else's.
Exactly. And the level of customization goes beyond just choosing from a preset list of personas.
Okay.
The creator emphasizes that you can actually build your own from the ground up,
Wow.
tailoring them for specific tasks,
Okay.
or even just for fun.
Okay, so theoretically,
Yeah.
I could create a persona based on,
Yeah.
I don't know, my favorite historical figure
Uh-huh.
and have them help me write a speech.
You absolutely could.
Wow.
Or a musician,
Okay.
a comedian,
Yeah.
a fictional detective.
Right.
The possibilities really are endless.
Wow, that's amazing.
And if you don't have the coding skills yourself,
Right.
well, that's the beauty of the open source community.
Right.
Chances are someone out there has already created something similar or is willing to help you bring your vision to life.
We've talked about Lollms as this digital odyssey.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm starting to get it.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about what this tool can do today.
Right.
It's about where it might take us tomorrow.
Yeah.
This whole experience has me thinking,
Yeah.
what if instead of fearing AI,
Yeah.
we embrace it as an extension of our own creativity,
Yeah.
a collaborator in pushing the boundaries of human potential?
What if instead of an AI takeover, we end up with an AI renaissance?
Right.
It's a compelling thought.
It really is.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Okay.
As much as I love a good dose of futuristic optimism,
Uh-huh.
I have to ask,
Yeah.
is this just a pipe dream?
Right.
Will Lollms remain this niche tool for tech enthusiasts?
Okay.
Or could this playful open source approach to AI
Yeah.
actually change how we all interact with technology?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like that moment in Star Trek when they're staring out at a newly discovered planet
Yeah.
full of possibilities,
Right.
but also unknowns.
Yeah.
It's exciting, a little bit daunting,
Right.
and ultimately up to us to explore.
And on that note,
Uh-huh.
we'll have to beam you back up to the real world
Yeah.
for now.
All right.
But
Yeah.
maybe after spending some time with Lollms,
Yeah.
you'll be charting your own course through the digital cosmos.
That's right.
It's out there waiting to be explored.
Absolutely.